Talk to me.
He says, today is the first, and at 10 I go. Today is my day to be the star of the show. There'll be lights and cameras and plenty of action. And old T. Rodgers will be the main attraction.
And you know something, brother T. Rodgers? That is the truth. I actually heard that the triple OG, the terminology of triple OG, was coined and framed after you.
My son. Lucky Rodgers, his name is Fakri. It means my father's thoughts. But he likes the term lucky because of the things that he went through. And now he has his own little film production company, which is Lucky Rodgers. But I want to play something for you.
Yes.
That I think is very appropriate. He says, when things went wrong, we blame mama.
Mm.
Then he turned around and he said, I'll never call you bitch. He said, thug life, and then tatted it. Is there a heaven for a G? And I go back, Darris, and I think about the moments that Pac and I stole. We shared it, but we actually stole it because when we were together, time stopped.
Yes.
I met Pac in Naptown. I was the keynote speaker. Listen, I was the keynote speaker for the Indiana Black Expo. I'm the man. I'm that guy.
H&IC.
Man. But I never really wore the hat of nigga. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Whole nother conversation.
And I did the research on that, and I had to wonder why so many was opposed to it, but then so many embraced it. Another conversation.
Yes, Dad.
Go back, and I'm always surrounded by those who need a hand up as opposed to a handout. So I had one of the guys, a childhood friend, a Dino Love. And Dino always protected me, even when I didn't need protection. But Dino protected me.
Come on.
And we went to Indiana Black Expo. There was a substance abuse problem, and I took him there.
Wow.
But when you have an addiction, it overrode the love that he had for me.
Wow.
And dealing with that addiction. So I'm giving you backstory.
Yes, sir.
In a hotel room, Dino, all right, the show must go on. I've got to hit my mark. Dino comes down after I'm on stage, on the podium, captivating, just mesmerizing, seducing the crowd. My omnipotence and my brilliance, which I found out later was nothing but sapiosexual sex. Yeah, look that word up, sapiosexual. Look that. No, I'm not a homosexual. I have nothing against them.
Never.
But look that word up.
Yes, sir.
The door opens, Dino comes in, and you know, I'm mean mug and I got my eye on him. You know you missed your mark. We'll deal with you later. Seconds later, the door opens again. And I'm demanding the crowd. One, and I'm surveying. The eyes are all eyes on him. Two eyes is gone, another, and the domino effect.
Yes.
In my pave, my pride, my hubris, my arrogance, my vanity, my ego. Who is greater than I?
You the keynote.
Couldn't see him.
Couldn't see it.
But he's making his way through the crowd,
Wow.
and as he's making his way, It's the magnetism. It's the hell with T. Rodgers.
The Pac energy.
Followed it. Followed it. Now you got my attention. So he's making his way around the room. He comes up, you know,
That's Tupac.
to the platform.
Come straight to you.
And I'm going to get it. I'm going to make an example out of whatever that is that has so rudely interrupted. How
Rude.
dare you? and then somebody couldn't hold it. Tupac!
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wow.
Wow. So now the hammer of Thor, the hammer of humbleness is busting me in my head. Well, clearly I'm not as great as I thought I was. Pac comes up, there's nothing I can do.
Yes.
I set my ass down.
Yes.
Seriously, I just set my ass down.
Wow.
Pac
This is your first time meeting.
first time meeting. He embraced the crowd, and somebody else after he spoke, they didn't want to hear me. I don't rap.
not true.
I don't rap.
We got it from you.
It was a humbling situation that checked my arrogance, my vanity. I loved it. I loved it.
Yes.
So now, shenanigans. Somebody else is trying to speak. Me and Pac is sitting back and clowning.
Now y'all boys. That quick. That's the charismatic part they talk about. Infectious, huh?
Addictive.
Addictive.
So they say when two black men are in perfect harmony together, God is present.
Amen.
The energy, the electricity between Pac and I, and what we did to the people that was held hostage in that room.
You know, there's footage on Pac at the Black Indian Expo, and it was one of his most powerful speeches. And you can see in his veins, and you can see in his voices, and they asked him to not cuss, and he says, it's no worse than what's really going on out here. And to know that you were there, I now understand why he made such a piercing impact and performance with his words and posture and poise.
Those who know don't tell, and those who tell don't know. And I wish I had permission from Pac to share with you the conversation that we had, because it was life-altering and changing on both sides.
Amen.
I will say this. This was after the shooting that Pac, okay, that you and I talked about.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that. And we're going back and forth, and I'm taking my position with him. Hey, I'm mentoring, and I'm really taking my position.
Yes, sir.
You may be Pac, but you don't know what I know.
Come on.
Let's calm it down.
Yes, sir.
Let me dip you. Let me lace you.
Yes.
He calmed down just a little bit, and just in that breath, I surrendered everything that I had. All the power that I have, especially over two neighborhoods, belongs to you. Right then and there. I didn't know that they were going to do California Love. And
Now, this is my next thing, because you being someone that, not knowing Pac, this is very interesting. Pac had a mission and a go outside of music, and it was the code of the streets. It was to organize the communities. It was to have youth football leagues, to have concerts that raise money and awareness. And this is what you do.
Yeah.
But yet you did not know. To everybody, I want you to know who we sitting here with. This is the original T. Rodgers. I grew up with Mr. Rodgers at 7 years old in a program called American with Jim Brown, who introduced me to him. And I witnessed some of the strongest men in our communities as leaders come together to be mentored and guided by the original, who we call the Triple OG in our community. And he has founded so many different organizations and so many different community projects that we thought it was only right to get him on the Truth About Tupac movement and the Tupac Shakur channel live here at YouTube LA. T, I want to thank you for that story of the Indiana Expo. But before we get into how several videos were shot in your neighborhoods, before we get into the story about Pac, let's get into your story. Let's get into the different organizations that you've been a part of for so many years. Sidewalk University. You have so many things you founded. The Warrior Project. The new pledge that's challenging the bucket water. I mean, even before we get to the current things, I want to take all of the fans of the Truth About Tupac back and give them a little history lesson. Is that all right, Dad?
Good. To do it properly, I don't have to be here, okay? Really, seriously, I don't have to be here. I have to give homage and pay homage and respect to the ancestors before me. I have to give respect and homage to those who paved the way before me. That's first and foremost. And you gave me such an accolade and intro. I've done none of that without the universe, without God.
Amen.
So, I mean,
Wow.
keep that 100. And that in itself is truly what is gangster. So we talk about what is gangster. That's not gangster. You know what I mean? How hard is it for you to kill a man? But as opposed to how hard it is for you to save a life. More importantly, do you even know how to save a life? No, you don't. But you think you're a gangster. The things that I started, and this really isn't about me,
Yes, I know.
Darris.
I know.
It's about Pac, and we can do me later.
Yes.
My mind, my heart, my spirit, I hope you don't get mad at me, is with Pac, is with Pac's mama. It's with the grief that I have that I've never released and grieved over Pac, or even little Malcolm X's grandson.
Yeah.
These are the people that came behind me, that watched me, like you at 7. You watched me. Who the hell am I?
You know, I must give you that testimony and let you know what I have seen, because you have gave me an example, not just words. You have lived the word, and you have been an example of what it is to be OG, original. We all start from nothing to make something. We all have negative, challenging trials, tribulations, but to turn the negative into positive and to be a living example and to go back and to help hold the hands of those that are in hell to get them to heaven is a remarkable living legend legacy. And this is why Asher Underwood, Layla Steinberg, and the founders of the Truth About Tupac had to absolutely have the only T. Rodgers here to tell us the truth of what those eyes have witnessed over the years.
You talk about sacrifice. You talk about leadership. I mean, not no false leadership or a stain or title or rank, because you don't know what it is. Now, number one, how can you lead and you've never been led before? How can you say that you're free? You've never been free before. So in the fight and the quest for freedom, in the fight for a greater quality of life, I didn't choose the mission. The mission chose me. So in that, I'm going to give it to you because you asked for it. How many times do people ask me, how you doing? How do you feel? Is there anything you want? Is there anything you need? How many times have people said to me, are you all right? Because I'm super blood. I'm Superman. I'm the unofficial mayor.
Yes.
I don't get sick. I don't cry. I don't laugh. I don't lie. I don't love.
Wow.
So Am I stupid or just naive if I continue to believe that I'm going to get a slice of the American dream? Well, I hardly think so. Because it's not the American dream, but with me, it's completion and balance. The karma.
Cause and effect.
The karma.
The karma.
The balance of the universe. When I was 16, you got 3 wishes. What do you want? I want wisdom. Why do you want wisdom? Because if I have wisdom, then I've got the knowledge and the wisdom to get infinite wishes. So the person asked me that went, well, Jesus, I never thought about that, T. Well, you asked me a question. What I didn't know what I asked the universe for were your problems,
Yes.
his problems, her problems, her mother's problems, her father's problems, the community problems. And I went, I asked for wisdom, I didn't ask for problems. The equation, in solving problems, I got wisdom.
Yes. Look at that.
So be careful what you ask for, what you ask the universe for, what you ask your God for,
Yes.
what you pray for,
Yes.
because it heals you. It will give it to you, not when you want it, but when you
you're ready.
need it.
When you need it.
When you need it.
And you know, you said something that is very profound because you talked about sacrifice. And leaders are not breeded, they're born. They are not made, they just exist. They form out of the struggle, they form out of the essence. And I always tell people, life is about the journey, not the destination. And in the journey of T. Rodgers, in the journey of sacrificing, you mentioned no love. You mentioned not getting sick. You mentioned being readily available for others
All the time.
all the time.
On call.
This is why the triple OG and the term gangster is not negative. It has been, we have killed it, we have destroyed it. It has no life because all that I see here and all that I know from 7 years old is a man that is willing to protect. And I want to now go back into why the actual brims and the bloods were formed. It was out of protection. They don't know this.
So many things run through my mind when I just want to slow down for a second.
It's all right, Dad.
OG is a falsified term. That OG transcends back to our ancestors in Africa, which is original griot. And a griot is a storyteller. Gangster is a word that comes out of being in a gang. That's where it comes from. There are 3 things in a gang: cowards, kids, and homosexuals. 75% of California prisons yards population is SNY, special needs yards. That transfers into protective custody, which transfers into homosexuality. Now, the traditional gangs have nothing on the new homosexual gangs because they have to be more vicious than the traditional gangs to keep them up off of them. I wasn't supposed to tell you that, was I?
Oh, yes, sir.
So when we go into those terms that are slung around and passed off and handed and slapped and pasted, that's what we're dealing with.
A false perception.
And it's nothing but perception. Because I can put up things on the internet that are, I can put up a photo shoot.
Yes.
They can take the photo shoot and shop it or take the original picture and put a caption up under it, which is a false caption, but those who may sit in a box, it is law enforcement perception of what I am to taint them because they don't know me. Now, if a man at 16 can control 2 neighborhoods, 5 schools, high schools, not the feeder schools, but control them to 5 city parks, can call a nation meeting where there are 500 youngsters that backed up one police station, then the other police station, and had 2 helicopters. So now we talk again, sacrifice, but the organizational skills are off the Richter scale. And it comes from one thing, because everybody wants to be a leader. But how many of you have compassion? How many of you are your brother's keeper? How many of you will say, no, you cannot sex that girl in to make her a criplet or a bloodette or whatever you want to make her, because she is the queen and the mother of the civilization. A race or a nation can rise no higher of their women. So why are you sitting there saying, that's my bitch?
You talked about that. There were several things you wanted to cover when I go into the notes. You talked about thug life. How the word thug was never intended to be negative, only positive. How do you feel about that? Just like the OG you just taught us.
You know, people don't read. I mean, some people got multi-million dollars, considered the champ, and can't read.
Yeah.
So when someone gives, oh, Darris, you're an actor.
Yeah.
Somebody will give you FU money, all right? And you buy a pair of Newports and Puma sweats, or maybe Jordans. We'll talk about that later, too.
Yes, Michael Jordans. I was just talking about that. I got a pair on myself, and I bought these based off of the fact that I was young at the time when they came out, and I could afford them.
And so was Pac when he mentioned them in his raps,
Yes.
because they dope. I saved up for Jordans because they dope. But then when Jordan, who is a multi-millionaire,
Billionaire.
will not take a picture with a rapper,
Or do a community organized panel or meeting or discussion like go to Ferguson. That's when I asked myself, was that a right investment, Darris? Is that the right message you promote? And I just said that to a young brother out here
30
today,
million a year. So, but what did Nike make? So does that mean that Michael got to his prominence by playing with balls? So now I take my kid. Well, how do we get off subject? But I take my kids.
It's on subject. It's on subject.
I take my kids.
Come on.
to go see Michael and Magic and them play. I'll
Yeah.
tell you a story about Magic too.
Yes,
But
sir.
I take the kids to go see Michael play. Michael's got his back turned to the bus. I'm getting ready to come on the bus. The bus driver said, Mike, there's some kids here to see you. Mike say, F them kids, tell them to buy my shoes. It's a wrap. My children hate me because I will not buy Jordans. So it doesn't matter how much, and that was my point, it doesn't matter how much money you are a trained actor from birth. One more time, a trained actor. You have been trained not only in the arts, but you've been trained to be successful.
By
Okay.
Magic Johnson,
Okay?
who was a business manager and a mentor like Jim Brown, like you as a kid.
Not arguing that. A story about Magic is coming up. Stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
I built his theater.
That's where I know as a fact. The reason why when Magic was managing me, he had to go in the community, and before he got permission, whether he had the money, whether he had the construction crew or team, he had to go ask certain people. They may not know it, but I know who that individual is, and that's why it's such an honor to be sitting here with you, Dad. So many different things to the community as a young man that I was able to succeed and be this actor that you see today. That's your work.
So, but
And the work of the spirit of the originator, the storyteller, the chief.
But I can do what T. Rodgers does. I can lead. I've never followed nobody, but I can lead. And if he can build something, or he can stop this, or he can negotiate that, so can I, but I can't read a contract. Me. It's not about the people, me. It's a time and generation of an instant generation and instant gratification. It is not about that. See, because if my people have it, then I have it. See,
That's a real leader.
and it's lost. And so again,
What would you suggest doing Ferguson right now and the issues was going on? We have leaders that are stepping up and the people are not accepting them.
what leaders? You said it. What leaders?
I got myself in one.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
And I was trying to set you up, but it set me up because I want to expose the truth. We have to. It's an honor to have you here. We don't have T. Rodgers anymore. We don't have him around.
They have. I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm hiding. I'm here. I'm hiding in plain sight. And then Ferguson is a good point. I'll share some things with you.
Survival. Look at your word on the survival. Tell us about that. Survival. In the family, you have a word that you break it down.
My mind is that
It's okay, because I'm here. I got notes. I did my notes on you. I can break them out for you, because I want to talk about something here. Is that all right?
Yeah.
It's one thing that I was looking at, and it was really interesting, because we covered a lot of topics, but self.
survival education for life and family. Survival education for life and family. Self. So you say self and it's selfish. No, and Jim and I argued over this. That's one of my mentors. We argue. It's a stupid name. And I usually do what Jim asked me to do. But the self just stuck with me. Survival education for life and family. So one says, I control my neighborhood. I run this neighborhood. I'm the boss, not leader. I'm the boss. I'm the boss, which means I basically tell people what to do, but I don't do anything because I don't know anything. So I said, fine. You control this. It's all yours. You run this, right? You run this, right? What do you do in a natural disaster? Turn him right into Scooby-Doo. What's the natural disaster? My point exactly. I won't give it all away. I won't give it all. But I'll say this. You and I are standing on the street corner. Car passes by. Check goes out. Car draws back around. Gunshots are fired. There's a drill. We duck and roll. We turn fire. We do roll call. Well, where's... We look in between the curb in the car. Well, he's there. You run your hood. Do you know CPR, first aid, AED? Can you stop his bleeding? Because the ambulance ain't coming in here until the police say that it's all clear. So now, did you go to the fire department and introduce yourself to let the police, the fire department know I'm someone and you can come in. The shooter is gone. You don't run nothing except your mouth and your ran over Jordans.
Dad, I love you.
Survival education. Your baby chokes. What do you do? Call 911? The time the police, the baby dead. Survival education for life and family. I won't get into the foods that you put into McDonald's. My God. Again, perhaps we'll talk about this at a later date.
Well, we have nothing but space, opportunity, and the wonderful Truth About Tupac fans that are considering this a movement.
The things that you and I are talking about are the things that Pac and I talked about. And you know what hurts me is that I had Pac. I had him. But the demons that lie inside of all of us, and Pac would not be
still.
I do this, I'm in the studio, I won't talk about his influences.
Yes, sir.
Yet.
Yes, sir.
Pac, slow down. I didn't know about the first shooting. We talked about the second shooting. And then as soon as he left me, I'm going out in a blaze of glory in my own territory. So the anger, the frustration, Pac was,
You shot videos. How many videos did you shot? He personally came.
Let me give it
to
to you.
you.
Let me give it to you.
Yeah.
The Jungle Creed said the strong must feed on any prey at hand. He was branded the beast and sat at the feast before he was a man. Pac this, Pac.
That's Pac.
It takes a man to stoop low enough to grab a boy by his hand and drag him into, kicking and screaming, into manhood. What man did that for Pac? I didn't become a man until I was 38 years old. I'm not ashamed to say that. I've been nigga rich 4 times. I've traveled across country. All my jewelry was custom. All my clothes was custom.
Yeah.
My cars was custom. Didn't make me a man. 9 children didn't make me a man. Until a man stooped low enough and grabbed me by my hand in front of all the homies. Embarrassing moment of my life. But he drugged me into manhood. At that point. Humbled, humble, humble.
It's always somebody behind somebody, huh, Dad?
So when I tell you this is my pain. I had Pac. Slipped right through me. And imps and demons only have limited power. We deal with temptation. Pac had a firm foundation of morals and what was right and what was wrong. But laced and dipped into BS.
Yes, yes. Had a strong revolutionary background in starting, but then into the streets, fatherless, motherless, and at the same time felt that he was obligated to be a leader, but yet still was needed to be led himself.
I couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better. So into the streets, you've got a choice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those of us who grew up in the streets, and we whoever our heroes are, players, bangers, pushers, don't matter.
Don't matter.
We will take what we need from that, and the rest we don't take.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's what Pac had to do. And I couldn't get to him. Couldn't get to him. Couldn't get to him. But there was a kinship, and you said it best, a firm foundation of righteousness, but yet that temptation was greater.
Greater.
So you got somebody in your ear.
Yes.
Pac, you the man. Pac, you the my Pac.
Ego. See, ego is etching God outside. See, when we follow the flesh and the carnal ways, you end up dead at 25. If you follow the spirit, you'll live for a purpose that keeps you eternally righteous. See, because our crown of righteousness is in heaven. It's not here on earth. And I'm just so thankful to be sitting here with you because you know what? You didn't lose Pac. Because you know why? Pac said something. He said, I may not change the world, but I will spark the brain that does. And for that very reason, the Pac energy will never die. It only multiplies into a movement that's like a solid fist.
So in that moment, we have to fight. Ignorance is like the Borg. And the Borg says, resistance is futile and we will inseminate you. Listen, stand for truth. Excuse me. Speak the truth, stand for justice, and run like hell from ignorance. But if ignorance is surrounding you,
yes,
with Benzes and cars that bounce, and banging music and heads,
women telling you what you want to hear, and man, everybody, yes man, every moment.
Now, the brain doesn't make the right decisions until it's 25 years old.
Wow. You know, I knew that you weren't mature until you were 33 years old, but I did not know the brain does not make proper decisions till 25.
You are accountable for. Why didn't they kill the fucking?
It's all right.
The serial killer. The serial killer.
Yes.
I would forget which one, but they
You're talking
wait.
about Jeffrey Dahmer?
They waited.
Or Manson.
No. The other boy. Here we go. They arrested him in his 30s. They did not execute him until well after he was 40, because after the age of 40, you are accountable for your crimes. You are accountable for your sins.
Wow.
They did. If you're 40 and under, if you're under 40, you go straight to high heaven or low heaven.
Low heaven.
So they knew, and they wanted him to burn in hell. So, but these are things that are not taught
Yes.
to us.
Yes.
You know, and then we fall victim. I hate it when one says, I got caught up. You know, I got ate up by the streets. Well, what made you fool?
Right. Because you had a choice before you got in those streets. And so before you get in those streets or before you make a decision, you must stay still and you must analyze before you move. You don't need a father, you don't need a mother. All you need is common sense to teach it out.
But common sense ain't common.
Yeah.
But you and I, who will go amongst the masses
Yes.
and say, be still. And you know we'll get back? I got you, homie, but I'm gonna run right over. Your arms is too short to box with God.
Come on.
You may be a great negotiator. You may be a smooth, silver-tongued devil. You cannot out-talk.
Amen. You know, and that's something that I know you've lived. I know you've lived. And I am learning and I am discerning, using the spirit of discernment to stay a lot more still and be more stealth and be more effective in not what I want, but what the overall universe, the spirit, the bigger picture. Because if we are not calculated with our steps and our moves, we will become a statistic. They throw 10 traps at us, we bound to step in one. And so, in conclusion, I have learned so much. I've taken so much as a student that I can hopefully one day become a teacher like you have been. And in your years of this great journey, if there's one thing that you would want to be remembered by and that we could carry on, what would that be?
I get asked that a lot, not by people, but by myself. So am I answering from my spirit, or am I answering from my ego? What would I like to be remembered by?
And I usually say to people, it doesn't have nothing to do with money, doesn't have nothing to do with the accolades. Actually, if it had nothing to do with yourself, something that is you, but is completely disconnected from you as an individual. And see, the reason I ask you this question, because that's who you are. Everything that you've embodied and done has been for others.
Yeah.
As an individual, what can you say you've gotten from it? And that's the answer for you.
And you know,
There's an energy. There has to be some that's continuously regenerating and rejuvenating and continuously keeping you intact. There's something driving, a driving force to do what you've done. You're putting your life on the line.
but one of my mentors said, two things will kill me: my ambition, but more importantly, my compassion. Because if my phone goes off, whatever I'm doing, what? Where you at? I'll be right there. Nope, I'll send them. What? Come right over. You know what I mean? And my wife, before she passed of cancer. Completion and balance. And I didn't curse God, and I didn't even question him, you know, but now, and I haven't grief. Grief is one thing that we as a race of people don't know how to do. And that is the foundation for a lot of our anger, frustration, and violence. So I'm learning how to grieve, and I haven't. Loss and abandonment with the people that slipped. He says, how tough my life, unlucky, lucky life, die twice, once in your face and then again alone. So lonely I find myself here without you. Why? Why? Great leaders, much greater than me, spent 40 days in a cave, was gone for how many years? So that every great leader, Mandela, they put him away, that exile, to be
Still.
If you don't be still, karma will force you to be still. And then you want to holler and scream and be mad. Shut up. The center of the universe lies here, and inside there, if you're still, those answers to every problem that you have will come out of you. But you got to be still. And that's so hard for us who are superheroes. Superheroes. I'm all over the place.
No, you're not.
I'm all over.
No, you're not. Because you're giving me the fruit of the labor. And the fruit of the labor is to go within to get all the answers to the external issues that are at hand.
My legacy, it's not here lies T. Rodgers, leader and founder of the West Coast Black People. It should read, once a boy who demanded respect that transcended, long title, it's a big tombstone, that transcended into fear. I was younger and meaner, my mind was more keen, and I've earned a rep with my hands, and I was eager to compete with the players on the street because I had ambitious plans. But now that I'm older, a tad bit colder, somewhat slower, my wisdom has risen to a point to say it is better to understand than to be understood. That tombstone would read, I don't care anything about respect, but appreciate the work that I've put in. Celebrate my embodiment of work and the doors that I've kicked down, knocked down, and the window that I climbed through and opened so that you could come behind me and enjoy what you. That's the legacy. That's the legacy.
And see, that's what, again, living legends are about. That's why this.
I'm the legend of Zeldar, man. I'm not a legend.
Yes, you are. You're a living legend. It's a difference. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to say, I wish I had the privilege and the honor of having a conversation with T. Rodgers, yet alone being on this, in the struggle or in the books of history with him. And for me, I now know that the torch is passed down because the student must become the teacher. And you being the original storyteller and sharing this story with us, now it's told to all of the world, all of the Tupac Shakur fans that understand the energy of a rebel, the energy of a warrior. A gangster follows, a soldier takes orders, a leader, a warrior has none. And I thank you for being that warrior. I thank you for embodying that
let me give you two things.
Yes.
And talking with Pac, and I got this from one of, again, my heroes, Gil Scott-Heron. Message to a messenger. You think that you have the right to speak for a generation, but you know nothing. Pac knew, which was the difference. There are other rappers that are prolific too, but Pac knew. And he knew just the right way.
Yes.
See, so everybody think that they can wrap your lips around this, but everybody thinks that they can rap, but what comes out, all right? Because you can make words rhyme, doesn't mean that it makes sense. The other thing is, and it's more important than being a rapper, is to be trained for success. What happened to A&R, the A&R department? Completely gone. Okay, I'm gonna get off that. This is what I want to pass on to you. The art of communication is when one talks and the other listens, and then vice versa. But more importantly than that is to master the art of listening.
You know, my grandfather said, be quick to listen, slow to speak. Words of Solomon, our first king. What a great, great way to be able to go out on an outro and then give you one of the most prolific, most potent interviews that I've ever shared, because I'm able to leave and take home a part of history that is already a part of me. But to rediscover and to reconnect with the elders and the leaders and the ancestors that have come before us is the very reason why we're all standing here. Nothing that we do is in vain. Not even consequence is no coincidence. And I want everyone to go home thinking about the type of initiative that they can take within themselves. Stop looking at everyone else. Stop judging and talking about what's going on around you, and start dealing from within. Be still enough to ask yourself what's going on inside here. And then maybe, just maybe, your community, your environment might become a little better. Brother T. Rodgers, signing out live on the Truth About Tupac, Tupac Shakur channel, live at YouTube LA. It's a blessing. I love you, Dad.
All right. Very, very few people call me Dad. People call me Pops, Papa, G-Pops, G-Father, but there's only two. And you're the first male that calls me Dad. A lot of my daughters call me Dad, but, and hey, come here.
Love you. Love you. I mean that. Without you, where would we be?
I don't know.
Where would we be?
I don't know.
To the
But
Watts family,
look,
to the Compton family,
he said
to the B
hey,
side, to the
He
C
said
side.
he's
Where
saying
would we
all
be?
that now. He don't know that I just passed him the torch.
Hey, damn, that's a hell of a tool. I'm gonna need some help, y'all. Log in, stay tuned. It ain't a cartoon, it's a platoon, you goons. Coming soon.
Woo, I like that. It ain't a cartoon. It's a platoon. You goons. I like that one. I like that one. Woo!